These people were just trying to escape. It wasn't a battle.
On July the 11th, 1995, Serb forces occupied the Bosnian town of Srebrenica. Previously, the UN had declared it a safe area, and many Bosniak people had gathered there, expecting the blue flag of the United Nations to protect them. Unfortunately, words were not backed by actions. Only 400 Dutch peacekeepers were present, and they were under strict orders not to intervene. The UN assigned inexperienced Dutch soldiers to Srebrenica. All were under the impression that there would be no need to fight, and that police presence would be enough to deter the Serbs. But Serb General Mladic had other plans. On the surface, he was a caring man. In front of television cameras, he pledged his safety for the young girls, mothers of Srebrenica. But behind the scenes is a different story. From morning till night, he forced thousands of Serb families to separate. One way, women and daughters, the other way, husbands and fathers to their deaths.
The 11th of July commemorates the 21st anniversary of the Srebrenica Genocide, a history like many others I was never taught at school. I'm Dershi Samaraya, and now over 20 years since the brutal genocide, I travelled to Bosnia alongside a group of students and artists to discover what happened during one of the darkest moments in European history. I will meet ex-Bosnian soldier Reshad Tabonia, who dedicates his working life to retelling a history the world has a responsibility to remember.
I was a soldier for 3.5 years, so should you have any questions or anything related to the last war that you want to hear from me, please do not hesitate to ask. The only thing I can promise is that it's going to be interesting, it's going to be an emotional roller coaster for all of you. That's something I can promise.
Sarajevo is the capital city of Bosnia, which was once a part of Yugoslavia, home to Orthodox Christian Serbs, Catholic Croats, and Muslim Bosniaks, also known as the Jerusalem of Europe. But by 1992, Yugoslavia had fallen apart and Bosnia had become independent. Most Bosnian Serbs rejected independence and fought instead for a state that would unite all Serbs. This would be the beginning of war.
This is the Tunnel Museum. I'm going to go out and get the ticket, so if you just come and join me in 2 minutes.
At the age of 19, Reshad served in the Bosnian army. He shares his story with the group and explains why he never understood how a divide was created between him and his Bosnian Serb friends.
At that time, seriously, I never thought that this amongst us in Bosnia and Herzegovina, that there is issues. I mean, we are attacked by different countries, so all of us from Bosnia, regardless of the name, religion, or ethnicity, will fight back. I never thought that these people living next to me, they call themselves Serbs, would actually join this side. The Bosnian Serb goes into Serbia. As soon as he steps into Serbia, for all the Serbs in Serbia, he becomes Bosnian.
Reshad's story brings to perspective just how fragile human values can be, despite years of living side by side.
And to the right, you can see all the calibers of the weapons were hitting Sarajevo on a daily basis. And in the corner, you will see something that was referred to as a uniform of the Bosnian army.
He takes us around the museum and brings back to life what was once his dark reality.
So this is exactly how the extract of the tunnel would look like if you pick it up from somewhere from the middle. Mm-hmm. So the soil above, tunnel, soil down. The average person's backpack was weighing 30 kilos on the way back to Sarajevo. There's a backpack here. So imagine then, 30 kilos on your shoulders, the tunnel is 1.6 meters in height.
The tunnel was constructed in 1993 during the siege of Sarajevo in the midst of the Bosnian War. It was built by the Bosnian army in order to link the city of Sarajevo, which is entirely cut off by Serbian forces, with Bosnian-held territory on the other side of the Sarajevo airport, an area controlled by the United Nations.
What happened after the war here in Bosnia is that those people who flee, they returned. People who lost their houses, they built the new houses. As you can see, the flats are rebuilt, roads rebuilt, electricity, everything is in place except for those who were killed. They're not coming back. And it's very, very difficult to find any sense in that. Just doesn't make sense.
We had a long journey ahead to Srebrenica, a border town between Serbia and Bosnia, also the scene of brutal genocide. During our stopover, Reshad tells me more about the current situation in Bosnia.
These educational visits, unfortunately, they are still, the ownership is somewhere abroad rather than inside Bosnia.
Obviously, as a kid, we used to watch these things on the news or whatever, but yeah, the news. You can only trust that so much, do you know what I mean? That's something that someone's recorded and presented to you with an agenda to sell across a certain story. So I've come here and looked people in the eye and seen their emotional response and physical response when they're telling me things. So I got it from the horse's mouth, and now I can go and retell that story.
Your son, is he taught about the history of Bosnia in schools?
This is a very painful thing. Our curriculum in the schools does not contain genocide in Srebrenica. You have people in Bosnia living who still deny genocide.
Do you fear about your son's future living here?
That is the most probably this is the hardest question that you can ask. Because with the situation as is at the moment, I can't see many things moving forward.
Next, we headed to the old UN headquarters, home to thousands of killings.
No one knows about Srebrenica as Hassan does, so I leave you to Hassan.
He's exaggerating. Yeah. I mean, so hello everybody. Welcome to Potočari Srebrenica Genocide Memorial. So here we are today in this place which symbolizes the worst atrocity which happened on European soil after the Second World War, the crime of genocide, which was as such qualified as genocide by two highest UN tribunals.
As Hassan shows us around, he explains that he survived the massacre by travelling 63 miles over the hills into a safe region under Bosnian Muslim control. But those that remained when the Bosnian Serbs attacked were separated, abused, and more than 8,000 were brutally murdered.
I've always wanted to come and pay my respects, but I don't think it would affect me this much.
This isn't new, really. It's just another slice of this brutal history that we have on this planet, and yeah, I just, yeah, it's kind of, yeah, I'm lost for words.
These people were just trying to escape. It wasn't a battle. This is one side against unarmed people. I brought my son here. First time last year. He was 12. I just wanted him to know what the evil can do without pointing a finger. I'm pretty much sure that he knows my role to a certain extent, but I would rather not impose things. He's young, he's smart, and he will come to it. And whenever he wants to ask me a question, I'll be there to answer.
We went on to meet the mothers of Srebrenica, the women who had lost their husbands and sons.
Genocidu su mi ubili kompletnu porodicu, dvoje djece, muža, dva brata, dva bratića, od moje sestre njena dva sina. Mog starijeg sina sam ukopala samo od dvije noge, dvije kosti od koljena.
My older son, I only buried 2 shin bones.
Bez glavi, bez ruku, bez ičega.
No head, no arms, no body, no nothing.
Tako mi isto i muž ukopan.
My husband as well, only 2 bones.
Bila bi sretna danas kad bi mu se našla glava i oni ostatak tijela.
I would be happy today if they would find his head.
Ako to može jedna majka zamisliti.
I've been with these mothers now for 2 years, and you just can't kind of switch off your emotions when going through it. Your eyes water. I mean, you're a human being, and listening to somebody who had buried 2 bones of a son or a husband, it has to affect you. But in a way, it's like it gives you a boost to continue, because if we continue living in lies and in denial, we're not ending. We can't seek for a better future for anyone of us. We just need to implement whatever the verdict was. So if the verdict was that this was genocide, let us not allow anyone else to say that it wasn't. If there is a law that will prohibit the denial of Holocaust, why can't we implement the same thing here in Bosnia?
A lot of people come and visit this and have really, really strong emotions. Like within the group, a lot of people just broke down, even just walking
They did.
through here.
It's almost impossible because everything is so vivid. The battery factory, it wasn't that long ago. It's 20 years ago, the whole field here was filled with people. So basically you're walking in their footsteps, and it's our generation. It's not black and white movie. No one is immune. There is no society. Of course there are societies, they are well prepared. They have instruments and mechanisms to fight extremism, hatred. But if the people are not aware of where it can lead.
Especially true in the UK, where, like you said, we're visibly different.
Exactly.
Visiting Srebrenica was a chilling experience, and I will never forget walking around the site, trying to understand how one human could do this to another. But in direct contrast to that evil, I will never forget the bravery and dignity of people like Reshad and the mothers of Srebrenica, whose strength to retell the stories without hatred left me speechless.
I'm gonna take you to see where I used to live. This is my hood. These 2 huge buildings and the white one in the background. This is the area where I grew up.
Pitaju mene kako mi je dijete išlo u rat i u borbu.
So you can ask me how my child was going to the war, and how he survived through the war.
Jeste.
Yes, he
Bio
did.
nevino dijete.
He's just an innocent child.
Suze su mi tekle jer on
I
je
was
kao moje
crying
dijete.
every time I've seen him going from the building because I consider
Samo
him
sam Boga
as my
molila
own.
da se živ i zdrav vrati
and only
svojoj
prayed,
majci.
prayed to the Lord for him to come back alive and in one piece to his mother.
Ja.
Hvala lijepo.
Molim, čao ljubav.
Vidimo se.
Čao mili.
Ćao.
Čao.
The building where I spent was probably the most, how would I call them, the innocent years, at least up until the war. It was on the 6th floor, the apartment number 39. And then you can see those are the damages from the war. This is the that is the anti-aircraft machine gun. Funny story from the war. I was off duty, we were standing here, there was a couple of us. And intro, when a grenade falls, it makes a very distinctive sound, hissing sound. So basically when you hear it, it's too late. But still you try to escape. So we were standing here, and then all of a sudden this hissing sound, and the grenade hits. You see these curtains? The curtain on this building? So the grenade hit inside the apartment. All well, all done, finished. So it's the war. It happens, so no one bothers. No one is injured. Nothing happened the apartment, of course, destroyed, but the people were not inside the apartment, so good. And we continue standing here. And then all of a sudden another hissing sound. And we all escape from here into the building, but the sound continues. And now it's now like a twilight zone, so we continue running into the building. The sound is still there until we realized that there was a kid with a balloon standing with us here and playing with the balloon, unaware totally of what's happening, but continues running with us because he saw that we all ran inside, and he keeps his balloon, the balloon that's producing the sound, and following us inside. Crazy, absolutely. I hate guns, I hate cannons, I hate balloons, I hate firecrackers. If it was me, I would forbid all of them.
Do you think that's got to do with your experience?
Most probably, I'm almost quite positive.
Seeing where Reshad grew up left me with mixed feelings. He had hilarious stories, but most occurred during war-torn times.
Just want to introduce you briefly to my wife, how my inspiration, my far better half.
Hey, come on in.
Hello.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Sorry, we have to put a camera on.
That's okay, that's okay.
Hello.
That's what happens when you're married to a celebrity.
What is it like living with Reshad?
It's mostly good, mostly good. He gets up early in the morning and takes the dogs out. That's the biggest perk of living with Reshad. No, I'm joking. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. All I've ever wanted, really. Plus maybe a Jaguar or something like that.
So it's soon to come.
You never know.
Yeah, you never know.
How do you feel about the work Reshad does? So teaching people from overseas.
I think it's very important, very, very important. And I think what's even more important is that he does it with heart. It's not just a 9-to-5 job. Every time he goes to Srebrenica, every time he comes back, it takes him 2 or 3 days to sort of recover. There's always a fear. There's always a fear in background that it might kick in again, that...
And are like the younger generation doing anything to secure a safer future for themselves?
Younger generations actually worry me the most because, I mean, what I sometimes think about is that during the ex-Yugoslavia and before the war, we didn't really know who was who, and we mixed and we lived together and loved each other really, and then we killed each other for 4 years so viciously. It was unbelievable. And the new generations don't mix. They don't know each other. The education system is totally separate. You have a phenomenon in Bosnia called 2 schools under one roof,
where people, children of one religion or nationality go from 8 to 1 and the others go from 1 to 6. So they never interact, they never mix, they don't know anything about each other. It's unbelievable. It's very, very scary. And you kind of think, if we who loved each other and spent all our lives together did this to each other, what would they be capable of? Because they have no feeling toward the other group.
Does your son have some of the same fears?
Good thing for him is that he doesn't know for anything better. This is his reality. So even if you ask him, is everything okay? He'll tell you, yeah, it's perfect. He's got his mates. He's born in this setup.
Yeah.
I have a curse of being able to compare two systems, the system before the war and the system now. This is the scary part. I wasn't aware who the politicians were.
Yeah.
I didn't know who they are. Now, the politics is everywhere around us. Everywhere. This is the country where even the director of the kindergarten is a political appointment.
Yes.
Director of kindergarten
Yeah.
is a political...
And it's got an agenda.
It's a political appointment.
Ziba explains that when the war broke out, she sought refuge in London, and the environment had a lasting impression on her.
And you go to London, of all places, where you have people from all over the world. I mean, from food to dress styles, everything is so different, everything is so versatile. And as a Bosnian, you fit in, you can find your place. And I mean, it was amazing. I know it's not a perfect society. I know there are issues of all sorts and kinds, but in general, I think if you want to, you can. And this sense of, you know, everyone having their place and differences being respected, and it's the kind of thing that you would want. That kind of freedoms, that kind of options is what I would really want to see projected in Bosnia as well.
If you had one wish, what would that be?
I can't be one, but I think it's just a chance at a normal life without fear of background fear of something kicking in again, and us going for each other, at each other.
And Rashad?
Oi.
Your one wish.
My one wish? Oh.
Monica Bellucci.
Wouldn't work. Wouldn't work.
It's difficult.
Huh? That's a very difficult one. I'll pass on this one. I'll pass on this one.
The Bosnian Genocide is one of Europe's most shameful histories, and the truth is, the world failed to help in the hour of need. Although the conflict ended over 20 years ago, as Reshad, his wife, and others along the journey have shown me, the effects of war still stain the lives of its people, and they continue to fight for justice every day. Therefore, it is important that the world knows not just what happened, but how it happened, so we can prevent history from repeating itself. The frightening fact is, it could happen again, and it could happen anywhere, especially in the UK, where the recent Brexit, coupled with clear intolerance in our communities, shows we are not immune to the horrors of genocide. So please, remember what you have seen here. It is our responsibility to retell the story.